Today we're watching 1952's classic musical Singin' in the Rain, in which Gene Kelly gets exceedingly moist. Hey Frankensteins! Singin' in the Rain is a movie that I did see while I was in college in a film class. I gotta say, I was not terribly impressed. I love the song and the whole number, Singing in the Rain, but I can't remember too much more about it except thinking, boy, this is a real turnoff. And don't even get me started on the Dream Ballet. I don't know if I can handle another Dream Ballet. I might find that I am swept up in the tide that is Singin' in the Rain. Another movie in this box set that exceeded expectations. Gene Kelly plays Don Lockwood. He's one of the biggest silent motion picture stars. Gene Hagen plays Lena Lamont, and she is his co-star and lover. No, she's not, but that's what the press wants you to believe. Everything's going really smoothly until at a party we see sound coming in. Some people did very well with sound. I mean, they'd come from the stage, so they knew how to emote and enunciate. Plus some people like Lena Lamont, their voices are a little strange. Thrown into this mix is Debbie Reynolds. She plays Kathy Selden. She has a very nice meet-cute with Gene Kelly as he plops into her car. Donald O'Connor plays Cosmo Brown, and he's been with Don Lockwood since they were making money playing at pool halls for dimes. So will these three characters be able to take them to the next level, to sound and more stardom? Maybe Lena Lamont wants Don Lockwood all to herself. And that's the story. And I was worried. I was worried from the first frame of this film. It starts off with the title, Singing in the Rain, and it's got Gene Kelly and Donald O'Connor and Debbie Reynolds, and they have slickers on, and they have their umbrellas, and they're singing in the rain, and it's very fast, and they're splashing around, and I just wanted to go into a hole and get drunk, because this is exactly the kind of thing that I can't stand. This is why I hate musicals. It set me up to something where I was going to have to sit through this for over 2 hours. Luckily, that didn't really happen. It gets pretty early on into, oh, this is a joke. They're kind of winking at you. Don Lockwood tells the story of how he came up through the ranks. What he's telling you is very different from what actually happens. Singing and dancing in pool halls, up to vaudeville, up to being a stuntman. Just kind of gives the whole history of early Hollywood in a very tight snippet. Sure, the story is slight, but the characters and the characterization and the music and the dancing all together make this a really good film. The cast is solid. Gene Kelly gives a lot of time to other people in this movie. He either lets other people do the dancing, like Donald O'Connor, or he does it in a duet with other people. There's even one dance number that has nothing to do with any of the cast. His first solo number is Singin' in the Rain, and it's about an hour in. And although it's a beautiful set piece and shows off his voice, it's not his most elaborate dancing. But that song and his rendition of it, it's beautiful from start to finish. And it's amazing to see his lightness and his happiness and just singing about being with someone. And then you find out that he had 102 temperature that day. I don't even know if I could watch this sick. Gene Hagen was so good. Donald O'Connor, dancing-wise, and just being a bright personality, he matches Gene Kelly pretty much note for note. As I said, Debbie Reynolds is just darling in this, and she really holds her own. Her singing, her dancing, all of that fits in very well with everyone else in the film. Except, when she was hired, she wasn't really a dancer. She was known as being a gymnast. And Gene Kelly was the professional dancer and made her cry just about every day. One day after having Gene Kelly insult her, and she was behind some sets crying, who would walk by but the other great dancer in film at that time, Fred Astaire. Fred Astaire found out how she was being treated by Gene Kelly and gave her private lessons to the rest of the filming. Gene Kelly later said that he couldn't believe that Debbie Reynolds would even talk to him after the filming of this because he was so horrible. It's not like she wasn't committed. During the Good Morning song, which is a very fun, happy, and she's just bright and sunny, and everybody's giving their all, that song and dance went from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., and by the end of it, her feet were bleeding. This film was conceived by Arthur Freed. He was, well, the head of the Freed unit, which was MGM's musical department. These were songs that were written in the period between 1929 and 1939. Well, to work on the residuals, he just wanted to take all of these big hits, put them in one movie, put Gene Kelly in there, and make more money off of that because they already had made money. Singing in the Rain was a big hit. Many films before this. The only truly original song in the whole movie is Moses Supposes. The one that's credited as being a new song is Make 'Em Laugh. That's Donald O'Connor's big song. One of the least funny things ever put on film. Donald O'Connor goes like a maniac for about 3 to 4 minutes. And then, because he was a 4-pack-a-day smoker, had to be sent to the hospital where he spent 4 days convalescing. Now, although the song is considered an original, you've probably heard it before as Be a Clown. And so they just kind of changed some of the words around. This is probably the best example of a musical that I remember ever seeing. There is still a dream ballet at the end, which makes no sense to the context of what's going on. So why didn't I like this movie when I saw it in college, but now I'm pretty enamored with it? That's my fault. This film reminds me of Batman, the TV series in the 60s. That was my favorite show when I was a kid. And I remember thinking, this is the coolest, most exciting, most awesome adventure show ever. Later on, people were saying how campy it was and silly, and I thought, no, that's not what I saw. I can appreciate it now for what it is and for what my kid mind was putting into it. So when I saw this movie in college, I kind of thought this was the best that Hollywood had to offer. What I didn't understand was that this was the love letter to Hollywood's early years. This was the parody of how things were seen. And this is not a document of a real time. This is not the story of actors and actresses living their real lives. This is the perception of what Hollywood is, what Hollywood was, and what Hollywood is turning into. There's only one person that's really trying to thwart the whole proceedings, and that's because she's jealous. The studio executives are wonderful people. The directors, well, they're crazy, but they're really just trying to make the best film. And looking at it with those eyes, I really enjoyed this. I really appreciate what they were trying to do. This film could have fallen flat, and yet this is really a masterpiece of the genre. And I can't believe I'm going to see anything like this again. Gene Kelly, you won my heart. I'm your biggest fan of all time. I'm going to send you a letter. We're going to go out sometime. And so I'm giving Singing in the Rain 4.5 out of 5 amazings. What's the half coming off for? The half is coming off because it's a musical. The half is coming off because of Make 'Em Laugh. There's not going to be a musical that has a higher rating than this. Our next film is Gigi. And I am very happy because it is the last musical that I will have to watch from the Warner Brothers box set. So until next time, I'm Uncle Tony.